Hi, I'm Hannah Wang, and I'm the project manager for Curator EDU, a project between the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill School of Information and Library Science and Educopia Institute. I'm presenting to you today from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which stands on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homeland. I'm joined for live questions today by Katherine Skinner, one of the principal investigators on the Curator EDU project. Katherine is speaking from Greensboro, North Carolina, which has long served as the site of meeting and exchange amongst a number of Indigenous peoples, specifically the Kiawe and Saura. Today, I'm going to give a very brief update on the Curator EDU project, but I will focus on sharing takeaways from our surveys of instructors who teach Born Digital archiving and the social, institutional, and technological factors that inhibit them from including digital forensics in their courses. The Curator EDU project is a 3-year effort funded by the Institute of Museum and Library Services to study and advance the adoption of Born Digital archiving and digital forensics tools and methods in libraries and archives through a range of professional education efforts. The other members of the team are Principal Investigator Cal Lee from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and Co-Principal Investigator Jess Farrell, who is the Community Facilitator of the Curator Consortium. The first research question guiding our project, which is the focus of today's presentation, is what are the primary institutional and technological factors that influence the adoption of digital forensics tools and methods in LIS classes in different educational settings? Through investigating this question, we hope to learn what the current gaps are in digital forensics education and how we can address them. Digital forensics has traditionally referred to a methodology and set of tools used in forensic science. These tools were originally created to assist in the recovery and investigation of evidence on digital storage media. However, over the past decade, digital forensics tools have found their way into the processing areas and quarantined workstations of digital archivists. Archivists can use digital forensics tools to survey the extent of a collection, weed objects according to collecting policies, accession the contents of a collection, and preserve original order. The Curator Environment is an Ubuntu-derived Linux distribution geared towards the needs of archivists and librarians. It includes a suite of open-source digital forensics and data analysis tools to help collecting institutions process Born Digital materials. The Curator Environment is software that can either be installed on a dedicated computer or run as a virtual machine in VirtualBox. In 2020, we distributed a survey to instructors working in academic settings, like library and information science programs, and to instructors and trainers working in continuing education. We received 33 responses to the academic educational provider survey and 26 from the continuing education survey. We conducted follow-up interviews with 9 respondents. These added to the interviews that we had already conducted with members of our advisory board, who all teach Born Digital archiving at the graduate level. Our first takeaway from the survey is that digital forensics training tends to be rather squeezed. When iSchool programs offer digital forensics instruction, which in itself is relatively rare, it's often squeezed into a 1 or 2 week period within a broader course on digital curation, digital stewardship, or some similarly high-level introductory concept. Many continuing education courses offer a similarly broad survey or purely theoretical approach. While very basic and fundamental theory can be taught in this way, deeper exploration, such as the ethical implications of different acquisition approaches, and hands-on experience like downloading and using specific tools or exploring workflow elements are almost impossible to include. Models and guides could help convey what digital forensics, Born Digital acquisition, and Born Digital accessioning competencies are, and which ones can be addressed on various timelines and with different approaches. Preparing students to perform digital forensics tasks in their future workplace is just not possible in a compact overview. So the difference between a compact overview versus practitioner preparation should be better defined. Our second takeaway is that the aptitudes and comfort levels of instructors are highly variable. Digital acquisition tools and methods continue to rapidly change to meet the ever-increasing volume and complexity of digital materials. As a result, even practitioners who are immersed in day-to-day processing work can find it challenging to stay up to date with the latest tools and best practices. This is even more pronounced in iSchool environments, where many of the professors are not practitioners. Without this experience, it can be very intimidating to demonstrate or teach hands-on skills, especially when errors can pop up unexpectedly and instructors have to troubleshoot on the fly. However, our research also finds that instructors are already at their maximum working capacity, especially in the past year, with many courses needing careful reimagining for virtual delivery. One way to address this gap is to tap into the active community of digital preservation practitioners, including those in the Bit Curator Consortium, as guest speakers and internship hosts or practicum hosts. We have also found that the instructors who do teach hands-on lessons are more likely to approach their position as a facilitator rather than as a professor who has all the answers. Using a hands-on approach for teaching digital forensics means that you have to be prepared for things to go wrong, willing to make mistakes in public, and generous with both yourself and your students as you work through problems together. Our third takeaway is that the technical support apparatus is uneven and challenging to navigate. Today's graduate classrooms and continuing education environments vary widely in their technical support options, but most are provided with minimal resources. While a few software companies and hosted solutions in the digital curation arena provide sandbox environments that students and practitioners can use to preview or test their software, they are expensive to produce and upkeep and supported by a very small number of tools. And currently, there are no digital forensics tools that are part of these environments. So an instructor seeking to teach students to use, for example, the Bit Curator environment, often has to ask their students to install a virtual machine on their own computers, leading to an unpredictable array of troubleshooting nightmares for the instructors and the students alike. The lift is just too heavy and the dynamics are too uncertain, and so educators skip hands-on instruction entirely. These education providers all currently share a common dilemma. The digital tools and environments that students need to learn to use are not readily available to test, practice with, or use. Using the power of a collective investment, educational organizations could design and build an educator's sandbox that would enable students to log in and gain access to a working environment, perhaps by partnering with a technical host. This would allow educational organizations an affordable way to produce a dependable virtual lab that develops along with the technology and enables students to gain the experience they need in order to begin working in this field. Our meta takeaway is that each of these recommendations requires educational institutions and instructors to engage in a more collaborative approach, something that libraries and archives regularly achieve through established communities, practice, and consortial investments. We are currently exploring the feasibility of partnership opportunities between professors and instructors and the Bit Curator Consortium to help support the growth of digital forensics and born digital acquisition skills. This will include piloting an educator's membership level in the Bit Curator Consortium in the coming year. If you'd like to follow along, you can sign up to get notified about new learning objects and project updates at bit.ly/bcedu updates. You can find our project website at bitcuratoredu.web.unc.edu. And you can follow the Bit Curator Consortium on Twitter at BitConsortium. Thank you.